Hi all. Today you will learn everything about multiple inheritance in Python. Hi, this is Krupali from KnowHow Academy. Before going ahead, let me list out the topic that you will gain from this video. First, you will learn why there is a need of multiple inheritance. Second, you will learn what is the meaning of multiple inheritance in Python. Third, you will learn beginner and advanced level practical implementation of multiple inheritance. Fourth, you will learn the situational based question that can be asked in interview based on multiple inheritance. Fifth, you will learn how method resolution order can be done in multiple inheritance. So let's start. So first of all, let me explain you why there is a need of multiple inheritance. Let me explain you with the scenario. Imagine you are building a vehicle which can drive on land as well as water. So how will you build that type of vehicle? So first you will implement all the functionality of vehicle, plus you will implement the functionality of vehicle which can drive on road, as well as you will implement the functionality of vehicle which can drive on the water. So to build a hybrid vehicle, you will inherit some of the properties from the land vehicle type, and you will inherit some of the property of water vehicle type. So hybrid vehicle can develop which can inherit properties from two class. First, that is a land vehicle, and the second is a water type vehicle. So here multiple inheritance comes to the picture. So what is exactly multiple inheritance? So technically you can say that a class which inherit more than one base class, so that is called multiple inheritance. So you may have a question that how multiple inheritance can be implemented practically in Python. So let's start practical implementation with me. So first of all, let me give a basic example of multiple inheritance. Imagine you are building a system where three different entities are there. The first entity is called a person, which has a name and email ID. Second entity is called employee, which can have employee ID and in which department he or she is working. And the third entity is manager. Now manager can be employee and manager is a person also. So we can say that here manager will inherit the property of a person as well as a property of an employee. So how you can practically implement that situation? So let's do that. So first of all, we will make two base class here. First is a person base class which has a name and email ID. So let's develop that. So here I have developed a person class which has two private attribute and one public method. This is the name and this is the email. So these two attributes are private attribute of a class person, and print basic detail is a public method of a person class. Now let's create a second class called employee, which has two attribute, employee ID and department. So I have created a second base class of an employee. Now let's create a manager class which can inherit person class as well as employee class. First of all, you need to write class and the name of the class manager. Then, if you are doing single inheritance, at that time you need to write only one class name. But here you are inheriting two base class, that is person base class and employee base class. So first of all, you need to write the person base class. Order you can mention in any way, but I am just writing first person and then employee. So here I have created a child class which is inheriting two base class. So here we have implemented the concept of multiple inheritance. So multiple inheritance means more than one base class is there. So manager is inheriting property from the multiple base class, that is a person and employee. So here I have declared init method which is assigning name, employee ID, email ID, team size and so on. So manager has one special attribute called team size and it has a value. Now here in that I am writing one method which is printing all the detail. So let me just let me write a method which will print the all the information of manager. So print data, then I'm assigning. Then now here I want to print first name, email ID, then employee ID and then team size. Actually here employee ID I mentioned 2 times rather than department. So let me write it clearly. Okay, so department, and here let me print it. So when you are implementing multiple inheritance, so all the public and the protected attribute will be inherited in the child class. So here a person name and email will not be inherited because name and email are the attribute which is considering it as a private attribute, so you cannot inherit. So if you try to just print the like this print, and if you try to access like that name underscore name, then you cannot see it properly. Why? Because underscore name is not accessible in your derived class if name and email or the derived attribute is a private. So you cannot write a print method like that. So if you want to check it out, you can try it and you will get an error. Let me write a code which will print the detail. So first of all, I want to print name and email, but I cannot print it directly. So what I can write the name of a class, that is person, and then the name of a method which is accessing the private attribute of the person class. So here print basic detail is a method of a person class, so it can access the private attribute. So here I am copying the method name and pasting it and just pass self. Okay, so it will print, and rest of the attribute you can access using a derived class. Why? Because employee ID and department is a public attribute, so you can access directly in your child class. So let me just write print and you can also print the team size. Okay, so print now. Here we have designed our child class and we have designed our parent class. Now let's create an object of a child class. So let's say m1 equal to manager, and I need to assign name, email id, employee id, team and department and team size. So let me just assign a name. Okay, and let me assign the email id. Let me just assign employee id also, and team size let's say 10, and department he or she is working in IT. Okay, and team size is 10. Let's call the method of print. Okay, so print data and access that. Okay, now let's run it. Here error is coming. Why the error is coming? Because here it is saying that person underscore underscore init missing one positional array. So what it tried to say, whenever we are calling super class constructor or parent class constructor using a class name, at that time you need to write one more argument. That argument is called self. Let me save it and clear it. Okay, now here in employee init method also I need to pass self. Why? Because that is also a parent class. So basically manager child class has a two parent class, that one is a person and second one is the employee. So let me save it and run it. So here you can see that name, email ID, employee ID, department and team size is printed. Now what if I try to access the attribute of a parent class directly using a object? So let me do that and let me show you what happened. Okay, let me put this in a comment and let me first access the attribute team size. Actually team size is a itself attribute of a manager class. Let me access the employee id. So m1 dot emp id, and if I want to print it I can write print and complete the bracket. So here you can see that you can directly access the public attribute of a parent class using a child class object. But what if I try to access the name and email ID which is private? So let me just write name and save it and run it. So here you will get an error, and that is saying that you cannot access the private attribute of a parent class using a child class object. And even here print class is a method. If any method of a child class try to access private attribute, then it will also generate an error. Let me show you. Let me just remove this, try to just uncomment it, and here instead of that, if I try to access the attribute name, so name, and here let's say I'm accessing self underscore underscore name, and if you save it and let me clear it, so you will see an error properly. So here you will see that error is generated. Why? Because manager class is trying to access the private attribute of a parent person class. So here this is not allowed. Okay, so here it will generate an error. Error will come. Okay, now let me put this in a comment and uncomment the above line and just clear it. So here our program is ready. So this way you can implement multiple inheritance in Python. Now this is the basic example. Let me give you some advanced industry level example where multiple inheritance can be implemented. Imagine there is one software company and that is developing a banking concept in Python using multiple inheritance. So what are the things they need to implement? So first of all, they need to implement the one base class which can take care of person account, second base class which can take care of loan account, and there is one another class which is considered it as a child class, and that class will inherit the property of a loan account as well as the property of normal person account, and that account is considered it as a mortgage account. So how they will implement using multiple inheritance? Let me explain you practically. So here one class is created, that class is called a parent class, and this is the account class. Now second, they have also created one class that is called interest bearing class, which is also we will consider it as a parent class. Now here one another class is created that is loan account, which can assign value of a loan as well as it will calculate interest on a loan. Now here it's time to implement multiple inheritance in mortgage account. Basically mortgage account has three parent class. First one is account class, then interest bearing and loan account. So we can say that mortgage account is a child class which is in implementing multiple inheritance. Why? Because it has a three parent class. Now here using a init method, I am calling the account and loan account init method, and here this is a show account detail. Now here show account detail is a method of mortgage account, but that method will access all the attribute of a parent class. So here it is printing the detail. So first of all, I have created object of mortgage account. Then I am depositing 1000 rupees. So basically this class does not has any deposit method. But since deposit method is a method of a account class, so it is inherited in a mortgage account. Why? Because account is a parent class of a mortgage account class. Same way I am calculating the interest, and same way I am calculating the loan interest, which are the method of a parent class, but I am accessing using a child class object. Why? Because child class can access the public method of a base class. And here using a show account detail, I am accessing the public attribute of a parent class. So let me just save it and run it. So here you can see that deposited things, you can see that, and here you can see that account number, balance, loan amount, interest rate, everything is printed using a show account detail. This is the second little bit advanced example of multiple inheritance. So I hope you get an idea that how multiple inheritance can be done in Python. Now it's time for situational based question that can be asked in your interview. Now the first situation is that how will you handle method resolution order in Python in multiple inheritance? So basically first thing you need to understand what is method resolution order. Let me write a practical example and explain you using that. So I am developing one base class A, and it has one method which will print some message on the screen. I am creating one another class which we will consider it as a base class or second base class. Now I am creating one child class C which is inheriting A and B class. Now I am writing nothing inside that class. Now let me create the object of a C class. Okay. Now here since C class is inheriting the A and B class, so print data method will be there in a C class. Although I did not write it, but it will automatically inherit while we are implementing the inheritance concept. Now what if I try to use print data method using object 1 of a C class? So let me just write it. Let me clear this and save it and run it. Oops, this is generating an error. What it is saying? It is saying that print data takes 0 positional argument. Remember, if we are mentioning any method, so it is advisable to pass self as an argument. So let me write self here and let me write self here also. Why? Because self determines that using which object that method is called. So that's why you need to write it. So let me save it, and here let me just clear this and run it again. So here you can see that only one line is printed. This is a parent class. Now why this thing happened? Basically, when we are inheriting A and B class, so print data method of B class and print data method of A class, both the method will be there. So when I try to call a print data method using object of a C class, then it should print both the thing, that is, this is a parent class and this is the B parent class. But this thing does not happen. What is the reason for that? Here the method resolution order comes to the picture. Now what is the meaning of that? So it will call the first parent class method. Now here let's say I have written here A and B. So first A and second B is there. So if I try to call print data method, so A parent class print data method will print or will call. So let me just change the order B and let me just write A here and clear this and save it and run it. So this time first class is a B. So here it will call the B print data method and it will print whatever thing inside that. So method resolution order is saying that. Why it is important? If method resolution order is not there, then Python will confuse which print data method I should call. So this facility is available in Python object oriented. If you see an example which we have developed previous, that if here I have written the person class name and its init method. Now if I write here super and just save it and run it. So you can see that here error comes. Why? The reason is that person class and employee class both are a parent class for that. So if you try to write super, so it will confuse which parent class init method I should call. So in case of multiple inheritance, rather than writing super, we will write person. Okay? And we need to mention self in argument. Now if I write super and if I write if I write init method init, so in that case I can pass only email and name. And let me just clear this and let me put this first in a comment and execute it. So here it will print. So what it is saying? It is saying that if you are calling super class constructor using super keyword, in that case you do not need to pass self argument. And which class it will call? So it will call the first class which is mentioned in the inherited line. It will call the constructor. Now let's say here, if I am writing here one print statement, print, this is person class, and let me just write here this is employee class. let's change the order here. First I will implement employee and then I will implement person. I will inherit, not implement. And if I try to call super, and let's say here, instead of email, I am passing the department and sorry, not department, but employee ID and department. And here using this, I'm calling. Okay, let's save it, clear this, and run it. So here you can see that this is a person class, this is employee class, this is employee class. Now why this happened? So let me put here the breakpoint and save it and run it again. Okay, let me go to debug, run and debug, and Python debugger, and this is active Python file. Okay, so first it will start debugging. So here you can see that, let me just remove the breakpoint. Let me just put one more breakpoint and try to debug from the beginning. Okay, let me stop it and debug it again. Okay. Now here you can see that when the manager class object is created, so it will go to the manager class constructor. So it will go inside manager. Now here it is mentioned that person class it should call. So it will go to the person class constructor and it will print. Now here when I write a super, that means it will see the order. So first employee and second person. So it will go to the employee class constructor. So here you can see that it will go inside employee class constructor and it will come back. And then again we are calling the employee class and so on. So this is just for your understanding I am doing. So let me stop it, and here let me put this is also in a comment, and let me just clear it and run it. So you can see that then employee class is called. So it here also method resolution order comes to the picture. So this is the answer of a situational based question, that how MRO can be implemented in multiple inheritance. The second interview question that can be asked based on situation, that is, how will you handle conflicting method or attribute while implementing multiple inheritance? Let me show you practical example. Now here you can see that I have created one parent class, I have created a second parent class, and one child class is there which is inheriting A and B. Now here, as I mentioned you that I am writing super.show. So here which class, which show method will call? So let me run it and show you. So here you can see that it will call the class A method. Why? Because as I told you that MRO, that is method resolution order, will handle the conflicting situation when all the parent has the same method name. So if I write here B and if I write here A and save it and let me run it again. So here you can see that B class show method will call. So this way you can handle conflict method or attribute in Python. The next interview question can be asked, what are some advantage and pitfall of a multiple inheritance? So let me tell you the advantage. The advantage of multiple inheritance is that we can reuse the code, as well as we can combine the functionality of multiple base class into one child class. And potential pitfall of a multiple inheritance, that it can lead to complex hierarchy, and sometimes if we do not take care of MRO, that is method resolution order, then it may generate some unwanted result. So this can be the advantage or potential pitfall of multiple inheritance. So I hope you learn everything about multiple inheritance in Python. Thank you for choosing KnowHow Academy as a source of your IT knowledge. We are always here to help you to navigate to the tech world. If you have any question, do not feel hesitate to reach out us. Stay curious, keep learning.